I guess it's just your instinct as well to just know what kind of goes with what. Like what won't clash and...
Well, you just kind of blend the colors together. Maybe it is a little bit more instinct since I've been doing it a while, but for me anymore it just feels like I'm just throwing it on there and controlling it and working it as I go. There's no such thing as a bad painting. There's...
Really?
Yeah, there really isn't. I think the trick is to stay with it and pull it through and you know, keep working it until it looks good. And I think that's just the trick. A lot of people might say it might be a trick for you, but
I think
it's a miracle for everybody else.
I don't know, in my circles, I don't know if I've ever heard the phrase, there's no such thing as a bad painting.
You know, there isn't. I mean,
I'm with you.
I mean, there is if they stop and they leave it bad, but the trick is to keep working it until it's aesthetically pleasing. Okay, this next step, which I've kind of started without telling anybody, is just to add these colors on top of here. And you're just giving it more saturation. And really...
It's kind of amazing how other colors besides the color that you seem to be applying are kind of just appearing.
Yeah.
There's a blending or
right.
something that's going on here.
And that's part of the layering that we're doing.
And the base coat and how much you wipe off, I suppose.
Like I like this texture that the paint has left, so I'm going to leave a lot of that, and that's just something you got to kind of look out for as you're doing it, and then other places. And you know, if you look at modern art, they don't stand the lines.
Yes.
You know.
This is not paint by numbers and staying in the lines painting,
yeah,
I can tell.
That's the difference between, I think, you know, a professional and an amateur. An amateur might try to stay in the lines and make it all nice and neat, whereas a professional, in order to create movement within the painting, is going to, you know, use their brush to create that movement, and in doing that, you can't be precise and stay in the lines, and it doesn't work. So you gotta be a little erratic and just go with it and enjoy it, and you know.
And don't worry about making mistakes.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I think I would be, and you certainly don't seem to be worried about that. It's just...
Now, like I'm leaving some of the areas and making other areas, put another paint on top, and that'll give an effect of depth.
Wow.
I'm just kind of working it in there.
You don't have to wash your brush in between.
No,
you're doing this with one brush,
right?
right?
You just stick it in the
Wow.
water or the paint or whatever you're using and go. I mean, who has time for that washing every 20? You can get out.
I have no time for that.
There is no time for that. That and you know the buildup on your brush is what you know blends these colors together. So if you're washing your brush out every time, you're ruining. You know, the effect that
that's interesting.
You know, the naturalness of this would give you. There.
Wow.
Get back and see what the heck I did. Because it needs highlights now, so basically I'm looking for places where I can add highlights, color within the color scheme that I'm using.
I see. So certain sections pop.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Exactly.
But you are still with the same couple of shades, the yellow
Yeah, you're just
and
using
the
the same
orange.
colors. You're just using them in different strengths, I guess. You know, whether they're watered down or not.
Amazing.
Watered down. that. And if you're using this orange here, you need some of that orange over here to balance it, and that's what we're going to do.
Okay, so now that was highlights, and now this is balancing?
Balancing and highlighting, because you're still creating that depth perception.
I don't know, I think maybe you're low lighting now, no? Just a guess.
And I call this the flip-flop fish technique.
Flip-flop
Yeah, you
fish?
just kind of flip-flop your brush, and it gives you that texture and does that whole thing. So.
Huh. Flip-flop fish. Well named.
So like there, I just dripped on it. Just leave it. It was meant to be.
I'm getting the feeling there are no mistakes.
There really aren't.
I mean, haven't there ever been moments where you just went, I didn't mean to do that, and you wanted to take back the
all
moment?
the time, but you know what? Own it. Move on.
Learn to live with it.
Well, if you made the mistake and it works with the painting, just go with it. Keep working the painting. If you're constantly afraid to mess it up, then you're going to mess it up. Just because you didn't let it do what it was meant to do.
Yeah, maybe the painting has ideas of its own.
Yeah, and they do take on a life of their own as they're being created. The artist kind of guides it, but it has its own thing going on, and you really don't want to control that. Now I actually have to wash out my brush because I have to add another color. Which.
One more time?
Might seem kind of odd, with these color scheme, but it works. That's what they requested, so that's really good. And what I did with this is, is I dipped it in the paint, and then I water it down a lot because I want the color not so much to be bold and be obtrusive with the painting, but I want you to be able to see the oranges and the yellows through it. And work with the colors and not against them.
So these are, what kind of paints are you using?
These are, the brand is Nova, and we get them out of LA.
Are they acrylic or are they water? Because I noticed you said water, so obviously they can be thinned down. They're acrylic, and you can mix them with water.
Yeah.
Wow. So do you feel that you're influenced by any particular area or culture or?
No, I'm a self-taught artist, so pretty much, I'm